Welcome to episode 10 of the How'd You Start podcast. I'm Nick Harrison, and I'm sitting down with Julia Tinajero. Thanks for doing this with me. So what is the name of your business?
Basilico Italiano.
How'd you come up with the name?
We didn't actually.
Okay.
It means basil in Italian, but my dad bought into this restaurant about 2 months after it opened in 2017. So it was kind of just there. It was already Basilico's when we bought into it, and he was the owner with the previous owner for a few years, and then there was a few different people in, and I was serving from the start from 2017, and I bought in 2019. So
Yeah. So how is that how you got started? You got started in the food industry, was just serving because your dad was already in the business?
No, so my dad has never worked in a restaurant, ever. He just
Okay.
had this crazy idea that this was going to be the retirement plan, and he didn't really fully understand how crazy the restaurant industry was. And I've always worked in restaurants as like my side jobs. I was always a server. I started as a host. My first job was Dunkin' Donuts, so I've always somehow been in the food industry. I think I was 27 at that point when he came home one day and he was like, "Hey, I'm going to buy into this restaurant." And I said, "That's a terrible idea. I don't think you should do that." But he did. And I started serving here and became a manager before my first daughter was born, and became an owner before my second daughter was born.
So you said that he's never worked in a restaurant. Was he doing it just from an investment standpoint?
Yes,
Just a financial,
so-
like he wasn't interested in the food business specifically.
Right. He's more of a money guy. He's the books. That's what he wanted to do from the start. And he sings. That's how he came about this place. He's a musician, so he would sing at all local businesses. Ever since we were back home in New York, since I was a kid, he was singing at all different restaurants. And he was the first artist here, and he just fell in love with it. He loved everything about it, the area, the community, the food, and so he just...
That's how he got to know the owner, or the person that...
Mm-hmm.
So the owner that he bought in with, did they start it originally?
They did start this originally, yes, and
It's not like 4 people removed or something.
nope, it was just that one guy, and that's it. And still to this day, his mother-in-law is part owner with us.
Okay. So, yeah, your dad bought in just kind of from an investment standpoint, sounds like. And then what made you want to come work here? Was it just your background working in restaurants, or was it because it was your dad? Or
Well, when he jumped in, he wasn't fully just like an investor. He was still a working owner very much,
Okay.
but he was so new at it. And I came in to help, to serve, and I looked around and I was like, oh man, like we need lots of help here. So I just jumped in like fully. I became a manager like right away, and just learned everything as I went. I had never managed a restaurant before, but then I just
that was
fully
gonna be
fell
the
in
next
love with
question. Like, how did you know how to be a manager?
it. I literally, I watched so many podcasts. I listened to so many podcasts. I watched so many videos. I try to like teach myself. I've read so many books on, managing people and restaurants and all of that stuff. But really the best thing is just
do it.
doing it
And
and
mess
learning
up
as
and
you
then
go.
learn.
Yeah, you're messing up and learning as you go.
So I'm assuming there were existing managers at the time too, though, right?
Yeah.
Before you came.
I'm thinking back to those times, and I'm sure there were, but I really can't remember.
There was existing staff though.
Yeah, servers.
So did they feel a certain way towards you
everyone was
becoming a
super-
manager?
Super welcoming. I mean, I was here pretty much from the start as well, so I
Okay.
kind of like started with them, and
Yeah.
I've always been an entrepreneur. Like before this restaurant, I was a wedding photographer.
Okay.
I had my own business for 11 years, and I kind of just assume the leadership role, and I don't do it in a way that's like hierarchy. Like I'm kind of just along for the ride with them,
Sure.
and I'm learning with them as well. So just kind of
So
happened.
when your dad, you said it a minute ago, but it was 2019, 2017.
2017 for him. I became an owner in January of 2019.
But you started working pretty much since 2017 here. Okay.
yeah.
So whenever you became a manager, and I'm assuming during that time you started like learning, and I don't know anything about the food industry, but it seems like there's many aspects of it. There's pricing everything, buying everything, make sure you don't run out of stuff, but then also managing people, knowing how to cook, knowing the sanitary stuff. So I'm assuming you did not know all aspects of the business originally.
Yeah.
Was it more of the same in terms of just learning as you go, or was there You know, and just being around it and the existing owners, and were they helpful? And because if your dad looked at it from a money standpoint, they could have very easily just been like, well, you know, you're here just for the money or whatever. Like, but actually learning and diving into the business, were they helpful in that?
Yeah, me and my dad, we both went through like serve safe classes to learn all of the safety aspect stuff. So we kind of got that, and yeah, we just learned as we went. And the original owner he kind of left and started other restaurants, so it was just us.
So so at that point though, like the menu's already established, the finances are already established, right? I mean, right, because he's at the time there must have been something. Let's start back. Whenever your dad bought in, was the restaurant doing well? Okay. What kind of problems did it have?
A lot of money problems.
Okay.
Yeah, we've definitely had to work our way out of some holes and figure stuff out as we go. But past month specifically, we've had our best month ever. So
Really? Was the money problems like a staffing issue? Was it just he was buying the wrong stuff? Was it just not set? Was the prices not high enough? Was it all the above?
all the above.
Yeah.
And at the beginning, oh my gosh, you have so many kinks to work out. And, we bought this restaurant from an existing restaurant that was here for like 3 months. So kind of just figuring it out and purchasing things. My dad wasn't part of like the food ordering and stuff, so I had to learn all of that. Just
Yeah. So it's probably an ignorant question because I'm not in the food business and know nothing about it. But how do you even know, like, okay, you have something on the menu. You have your, let's call them trade secrets, your recipes, how you make the final dish. But does it take like an experienced chef to know exactly how much what ingredients? I mean, you know what ingredients goes into it. If it's pasta, you need, noodles, marinara sauce, whatever, et cetera. But how do you know how much to buy? I mean, I know you're going to learn over time what are your best sellers, what are your not best sellers, but in the beginning, I mean, did you have days that you like had a ton of food that you overbought and then had to throw it away, or the exact opposite maybe where you didn't order enough, or how did you kind of work through that?
Yeah, pretty much the opposite because we're so small here and we don't have a lot of space to store like extra stuff, especially now because we're doing a lot more volume than we used to. Back then, I remember buying like 6 cases of sauce like per order.
Is that a lot?
No,
Okay.
like not really a lot for us. I mean, we're an Italian restaurant, so sauce is like our holy grail. It's like what we do. And now we're buying 22 cases a week. So it's a lot different, and you just kind of like learn as you go. Like, okay, I think I'm gonna need this many cases of sauce, and this, we're gonna make 1 batch per day. Now we make 2 batches per day, but then we would make 1 batch per 2 days. So I'm thinking, okay, 1 batch is 2 cases, and I kind of formulate like how many we're gonna need for the week.
And then you also have to break down like, you're buying it in bulk, so the lump sum cost of what that is. But do you have it down at this point to a science where it's like roughly how much sauce goes into each dish, and you can scale down the money and know how much to add? Like how is the food business priced? Is it like cost plus a margin percentage, or is it how?
Yeah, so we take our food cost. I have everything broken down into recipe cards, so I know how much each plate costs. I know every ingredient and how much every ingredient costs in each plate.
That's good.
That's something
because I feel like,
yeah.
especially the TV shows, you see a lot of restaurants struggle because they don't know their costs.
Yeah, well, I've watched, oh my gosh,
Right,
so
a
many.
lot of them,
Bar
yeah.
Rescue, I'm like, oh my God, I can't have John Teffer come in here and yell at me and stuff. So, not that he ever would, but so I've taught myself that, and over the years, it's a lot of trial and error, and it's a lot of work. I mean, that's like the most hours putting into that throughout anything in this restaurant is
But
sitting
then
at my
once
computer.
it's set up, it almost seems like the work is done.
Yeah.
Because then it stays the same.
Yeah.
That dish is that dish.
Exactly. Like
Till
our
you change
portions
it.
are not changing until we change them. And, my staff knows this ladle goes with this sauce, and we've portioned out the pasta after we made it. So everything is portioned out and should be, there's always going to be food waste somehow, some way in a restaurant, whether it be something drops on the floor, customer doesn't like it, server rang in the wrong dish, whatever it may be. So we calculate that as well. But yeah, it
How
does.
do you
After
deal with labor costs?
that's
Like,
our
cause in
biggest struggle.
yeah, because I would imagine that a server gets paid tips, whereas maybe the chef doesn't. Or so how? I mean, and again, you've learned over time, but a chef can what I'm going to call batch out dishes. So if you have a family of four, and they order four, let's just pretend like they ordered the same thing. That chef can batch them out, I would imagine, especially if you mentioned the pasta's already pre-proportioned out, the sauce, the ladle, But so to me, that would be easier to price versus if they order 10 different dishes for 10 different people, and he's having to do this, then stop, go do something else. Or is it more streamlined than that? Or I mean, how do you include labor costs in the sale costs of the food?
We don't really break it down as far as that.
Okay.
And maybe we should, but this is the way I do it. So we have your sales, right? And we want our prime cost, which is our food costs and our labor costs, to be about 60% of our total sales. That would be a perfect world. So all in all, with all of our sales, we're just trying to keep our labor in total at around 35%.
To leave 25% or 20 to 25% for cost of goods or buying food. And then where does overhead play into that? That doesn't seem to be fixed costs, though. I mean, how much you're...
Yeah, so fixed costs are going to be separate, and we have our rent and our utilities and all that stuff, but man, it's like things break left and right in a restaurant, so you just...
Really? Equipment in the kitchen or what?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so how often are you having to buy new... I mean, how long does that stuff last?
Well, it seems like about 8 years, because
Really?
we've had this restaurant for 8 years, and it seems like everything's breaking. It kind of happens in waves, but when it happens all at once. It all crashes at once, and then you're on a...
Do you ever see
on
an
a
issue
break.
with, and this is just because I've always wondered, like dishes breaking when they get dropped, or forks or spoons getting lost, or people take stuff, or does that happen?
Yeah, it
Really?
does. Oh man, it's like I do a lot on social media and stuff, so I posted a TikTok the other day, and I'm unwrapping new ramekins, and I'm like, man, I was just kind of just joking in the video, like, where do these things go? Like, do you guys eat them? Like, what's happening? And like so many comments of people said, oh yeah, we take those home. Customers, they're like, yeah, I always take that home. I'm like, why? Why would you do that? I was so baffled. I
Yeah.
couldn't believe that people were just like openly saying that, but I guess
Yeah, because I
they
guess,
do.
I mean, at some point you have to
Sometimes
start
it's a
including that in
mistake.
your cost too. I mean, and by now you know roughly how many plates you need to keep, how many cups you need to keep, how many forks, spoons.
Yeah, but you do
the
hear
whole-
them. I'll hear them like crash in the background. I'm like, oh, just wince in pain.
Are you able to buy those one off, or do you have to buy them in like a pack of 100?
Not really 100. Normally the packs are like 12, 24, depending on the style.
Going back to buying food, is there like and by now you have your suppliers that I'm assuming, have a relationship with, and they know you, and what you order, they know what you want and all that. But when you order food from these suppliers, how do you know what your internal lead time is? Like, so for example, if on a Friday night at dinner time rush, you start serving a lot of pasta, or a specific type of pasta, because you probably serve a lot of pasta here.
Yeah.
Let's say thin spaghetti noodles, just as an example. How do you know, okay, I need to order this now, or this can wait until next week? Like, how do you know roughly how long something is going to last? I know you portion out the dishes and stuff. So, but like if you start running out and you notice, okay, I have this big pot of pasta that is just getting done, and I know that will last me, 15 plates, let's just say.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know, and maybe the answer is you don't know, how many, what is the lead time on ordering stuff to where you don't run out? Or is it a safer bet to just order extra?
I order a little extra, like a little more than I think I'm going to need. So say our thin spaghetti, our angel hair comes in packs of, I think it's six bags, and we cook off like a bag a day. So I always want like a case and like two. And then if by chance we have a huge catering order come in and it's going to take two of those bags, I'm like, okay, well, at least I know I can still cover myself. I still am good. But we do get 6 trucks a week. So we get we have three distributors. We use Gordon, PFG, and Cisco. And we get those two guys or 3 guys 2 times a week.
Okay.
So we get a lot of trucks in
Is
here
it
because
scattered,
we're so small.
or is it like Friday, Saturday, or is it
They
like Tuesday?
come
Is it
Tuesday and Thursday, Friday.
okay?
So I'm like heavier on the weekend, and I get a lot more stuff in on the weekend because it's the weekend. Like that's when our crazy time is. And then I order again on Sunday, or I do my inventory Sunday night, and I order on Monday for Tuesday.
Are any of those, maybe not just those specifically, but are any of the suppliers hard to deal with? Like, do they ever not show up? Do they ever give you a hard time about do they ever run out of stock? I mean,
Yeah,
so
they
how
are
does
out of
that
stock.
work?
Yeah, you just kind of
Take it off your menu?
I don't really take it off a menu. I'll find substitutions, like if they run out of like our ziti noodles, like we use kind of like a rigatoni actually, but if they're out of that, sometimes I'll sub it with a ziti since it's like fairly similar. If it's something that can't be subbed, like our lobster ravioli, I can't really find a replacement for that because it's like the specific one we get. Then I'll just 86 it, which means like we're out of it for the night or for the weekend, whatever it may be. It's happened.
Yeah.
It happens,
And then, as far as we talked about reordering, when to reorder. Is that you personally being back in the kitchen and watching the whole time, or does the chef or the kitchen staff give you an update, or how do you kind of?
We're a team.
Because you can't be everywhere at once.
Yeah, we're really like a team. So if we are running low on stuff, they'll let me know. They'll text me. My mom is my kitchen manager, so she'll let me know. She's kind of like the prepper, the kitchen manager. Like she preps everything. She's not cooking on the line, but my guy that is cooking on the line, that's kind of the head of the kitchen. He'll text me, but I am in here every day. I do inventory on Wednesdays because I have a truck coming on Thursday, so I'll order that for Thursday, and I use that inventory and order for Friday, and then again I do inventory on Sunday or Monday.
And the suppliers, they don't need that much lead time, I guess. If you're ordering on a Wednesday, they can have it to you Thursday.
Yeah,
It's
so I
not
just have
like you
to have it
tell
in
them 3 days in advance.
Right. Yeah. No, I definitely need that short lead time so I
Right.
can be like, okay, I'm use that on Sunday night. We go through our whole weekend, so then Monday we're stocked back up.
And you're able to get at 95% or maybe even 100% from just 3 suppliers of everything you need? Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Drinks
and
too?
I
How
think
does
a lot of
drinks
people don't have that many suppliers. I'm not really sure. I'm not sure if people have like 1 or 2, but I have 3. Cisco is really close, so I can actually run up there, and they have something called will call, so I can run up there and get something really fast, and they can have it ready in 2 hours.
And they're just on 30-day. You're having an account with them.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think we have like a net 7 or something we pay after the week is over. We pay that total.
They handle drinks too?
No. We have 2 wine distributors, 3 beer distributors. No, we have a lot more than 3 beer. 2, because we use a lot of locals. So I'll have like O&B Copper, that's Old Mecklenburg Brewery. I'll have 11 Lakes, Cabarrus, and then I have my other ones like Peroni that comes from a different one, and McUltra comes from a different one. So there's a lot of people I'm dealing with weekly.
Yeah. How many people on an average day are working in here at a time? Servers, kitchen staff? Like, what's the standard setup for a restaurant? And let's say an average day versus a Saturday night or a Friday night. Is that different, or is it the same?
Yeah. The kitchen differs a little bit versus front of house. So on like a regular weekday, we'll have 3 servers. On a weekend, we'll have 5. We're pretty small. We have 18 tables, plus this room that we're in, patio. So 5 can handle it. They don't want more than 5 because then it cuts into their money. So they're like, okay, 5 is it, and then 3 on the slower days. And then my kitchen pretty much have 4 on a slower night and 5 or 6 on a heavier night. Yeah.
What's the setup inside the kitchen? They're not all 5 or 6 chefs, right? I'm assuming they're different
So we have
roles.
3 different stations in our kitchen. We have a pizza station, and there's one guy there. We have grill and saute, which there's either 2 or 3, depending on the night there. And then we have a salad and fry station, which there's either 1 or 2 over there.
Okay. And then how do you deal, and maybe it's just you learn it in the food business, but making sure dishes don't come out too slow? Or is there such thing as them coming out too fast? I don't know.
Sometimes I'm normally the expo, which is like the expediter, and I stand directly in front of like the saute and grill guys, so I'm kind of in the center. I'm in the central area, and I watch everything, and I'm the person that expedites when they're going out. I make sure all the dishes to one table are going out together. I'm sending salads before the entree, appetizers before the salads, and yada yada. So I'm like the conductor, like the, what's that person, like an orchestra? Yeah, I'm that person for the kitchen, and I say, okay, you need to slow down for that, wait for salads. I haven't got my appetizers yet. Don't start on that yet. If pizzas are coming out too fast, I'll tell them to just hold for 5 minutes, and then kind of just have to watch everything all at one time. But that's actually my favorite spot in the kitchen.
Really?
Expo line.
Doing that? That task is...
That's my
yeah.
favorite. I used to work at Applebee's when I was like 18. That was my job there. I was a server, but I also did that. It's always been my favorite. And then
How did you guys deal with COVID?
it was
Were you
interesting.
shut down?
For a weekend. Everyone had to shut down. We didn't know what was going on. And then we opened back up for to-goes. And I think we were to-goes only for like 3 or 4 months. It's like all a blur. Like it happened so fast.
But
it felt
you
like
sustained okay.
we
You're still here.
have
I mean-
like the best community around us. Like people rallied for local small businesses. Like it was so heartwarming and like amazing to see people just lining up and still ordering their food from us. And we tried, everything we could. We added on delivery. Me and my sisters and my other business partner, Lori, my mom and my dad, we were driving all over the place to deliver what we could. We had family meal deals. We tried anything, and it worked, and
The finances work because you're still here.
we're still here. Yeah, it was fully the community around us.
Do you
that
wish
did
you
it,
could
though.
go back to just to go?
My staff talks about it often because it was fun. We
Sure.
made it really fun.
Well, especially if you can sustain financially on just to go orders, you could cut down on your overhead for the
Yeah.
building and
I
the
mean,
space maybe.
We missed our people though. Like when
Sure.
they came back, that's why we do it. That's why we're still here 8 years later, because we've made such amazing connections with our customers. These people have become like our friends, our family. That's definitely why we're here.
Yeah.
We
How
couldn't
did-
do it just to go, but it was a fun time.
You mentioned that you've mentioned your sisters and your mom. How many of you that work here are all family?
So it's my immediate family. It's me and my 2 sisters, my mom and my dad. So it's 5 of us. Other than that, everyone is just
Hired.
staff, but
Yeah.
they are also family. I have a mom, dad, and son in the kitchen.
Oh,
I have a brother, sister in the kitchen. What else? I have brother, sister, servers, best friends, cousins, roommates, you name it. Like
so how do you find staff?
it's a lot of word of mouth.
And it sounds like
honestly.
family. I understand that.
Yeah.
If you hire someone and their son wants a job, I understand
Yeah.
that. But if you get short on staff, have you ever had to like go out head hunting or post job boards, or how do you work through that?
I've gotten how many people? I think 3 or 4 people total from Indeed. A lot haven't worked out. We have a really tight-knit group, and we all get along really well. And the people that don't work out kind of weed themselves out. Like, you can just kind of tell. And we're never like, I've only had to fire, I think, 4 people in the time that I've been the owner here. But it kind of just works out, and the people that stay for a long time. I've had people here the whole time that I've been here, servers and bartenders, 6 years, 7 years. So.
Is the server position, is it a lot of part-time work? A lot of part-time? It seems that traditionally, and I don't want to over-stereotype it, but traditionally it's like a younger person that maybe is doing it after college or after school during the day.
Yeah, we have a good mix, I think. We have, kids that are in college. We have some that are in high school. We have some that are older, and this is their career. Like, this is their career servers, and it's just
Yeah.
It's what they love to do. They love being around people and helping people.
How do you hire someone? What does someone need to get hired by you? Anything specific, or I mean,
I kind of just in the interview process go off of like how it feels,
the vibe?
the vibes. Good person, got just good feelings, and sometimes my feelings don't work out.
Sure.
But for most part, they do, and we end up with a really good staff.
So you mentioned you've had to fire 4 people. What does someone do to get fired from here? Is it stealing? Is it
Yeah.
extracurricular activities that they shouldn't be involved in outside of work? Is it what
I don't
kind
really,
of stuff?
I've never fired anyone for anything that they've done outside of work, unless it's like terrible and like the law is involved or something that's never happened. But I, would take that into account. I think I've had to fire someone for stealing, like employee meals. They're voiding them out on the computer for themselves. That's not cool, like kind of sucks because we're a family-owned business. I'm like, I'm already giving you 50% off. Like,
Right.
I think in the kitchen, that's a different story. I've had people just kind of be disrespectful and kind of loud and yelling and not knowing how to like hold their tongue when it gets really busy, because it gets really
Stressful.
hectic and stressful, and like you can't really.
Is it just from trying to get dishes out on time?
Yeah, and say I'm the expo and I'm like, hey, how long on this? I'll ask for like a time check, and they'll get frustrated or something, and it's all about like the way you say things. So I try to be like a really respectful kitchen, a lot of thank yous, a lot of please, can I have that, someone needs help. We're always going to lend a helping hand, but there are just a few in the bunch that don't really work out and don't have the same mindset, and they want to work on their thing and that's it, and that doesn't really fly in my kitchen. So if you're not willing to like help your neighbor, then it's not going to be the right place for you. And I've had to fire someone for that. I've had to fire for someone trying to smoke in my dish area and be like, nope, this isn't a playground, you need to get out.
Yeah. How do you, I guess speaking of the bad stuff, how do you deal with unhappy customers? And have you is that a common thing in the food business, and how do you deal with it? And what are they unhappy about?
Yeah, there have been, a handful. It's not something that we deal with super often, but of course you're always going to have someone that's not super happy. And we're just trying to get on their level, and for one, say we run out of a dish that they really want or something, like we have to let them know, like, we are pretty much a scratch-made kitchen. If we run out of something, it's just because like we've stocked as much as we can and everyone's ate it, and we got to make more, but we got to make more tomorrow. We can't.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do with that.
Yeah.
point. You can't just snap your fingers and
Yeah.
they can get mad, but at the end of the day, like
A lot
it's
of
not
the
gonna
things
change
here,
anything.
there's very few things that we're opening a box for. We make, all of our dressings, all of our sauces, bread all of our chicken, zucchini, eggplant. So it's not something that I can just pull out of a box. If I'm out, I gotta make it tomorrow. There's no room back there for someone to start breading chicken cutlets in the middle of a dinner rush. So, not saying that we run out of chicken cutlets, thank God. We do prep a lot of those. But yeah, we just kind of get on their level, kind of understand where they're coming from, and have a listening ear, but also make them see that, hey, we're human, like we're gonna mess up sometimes, we're not perfect. Hopefully they understand.
And so it's not like an immediate you offer them free food.
No, it doesn't always have to be, and sometimes sometimes we do have to
It comes to that.
compensate, and we totally understand that. Like, I'm very open to saying, I'm so sorry we're out of that, or I'm so sorry you didn't love it this time, or let me get you one next time, and make it up to you.
Do you ever
type
have
thing.
people that are like in the social media memes where their plate's empty, they just ate the whole thing, and then they say it wasn't good and want it for free?
Mostly that's like a dad joke.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, right. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah,
I see
for
the
sure,
memes
for
about
sure.
it, but it's like I didn't know if that was if
Yeah,
that ever
we get
happened.
that, and definitely. I've had someone, I took a picture a few years ago, someone like wrote a heart in their empty plate, just like the remnants of their sauce. There was a heart. I took a picture of it. That was like 2020 or something. Still remember that. It was cute.
How do you is it difficult with inspections here? Like, I'm assuming there's a health inspector, whether it's the state, the county, the city, whatever. And I'm assuming there's maybe a fire marshal that would come by too. So how is any of that difficult? I've heard that, like, because a lot of people their first impression of somebody in the food business is the sanitation score. So why is it difficult, and why is it so difficult? And how do you maintain a good score?
Yeah. So we follow a lot of different protocols to keep things up to spec. And every health inspector is different. It's like they all have the same training, but it's like you never know what you're going to get. And we've had the same one for like 2 or 3 times now. So we kind of know what she's after. And like the guy before her was not worried about what she's worried about at all. Like I think we got a point off for our laundry basket being too close to our sink or something. So it could be something as minuscule as that, or I think we got a point off for the dumpster door being open. And
I had no idea all that stuff went into it.
yeah, it's a lot.
Do you
like,
guys know, like, is there a checklist and you know ahead of time and things just slip and you don't know? Or?
Yeah, because like a lot of people use this dumpster specifically. Like for that point, that was like, oh, that was so disheartening because like there's like 3 different restaurants like right here in this strip of this complex, and not even the whole complex, and like we all use that dumpster. And there's like a doctor's office and a physical therapist or something, so everyone uses the dumpster. But she was like, well, I'm going to give you a point off of it just so you can go to your landlord and tell them like this is a real problem. I'm like, that hurts us so much.
Right,
like
yeah.
You don't understand. People really look at these things and they don't understand that it's not about our cleanliness. It's things like some of these things are just like outside of our control.
What's the craziest thing they look for that people might not know? I mean, the dumpster's pretty crazy.
That's pretty
the
crazy.
laundry basket's pretty crazy.
That's
but
pretty crazy. Yeah. I think those are like the most outlandish things that like
most of
don't
it's
have
very
anything to
obvious
do
stuff,
with
like
with
don't
food.
have expired food in the fridge.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, make
more
sure our
obvious.
labels are on the food and make sure we're proper hand washing and, wearing gloves and doing all that stuff.
How often do they come and do that?
They just changed it. I think it's once every 4 months now or something like that. Yeah, and we never know when they're coming.
So
just
they don't
pop
give
in.
you a heads up,
No.
like I'll be here next week, or
No. Yeah, we
They
kind
just show up while
of
you're
go
open
from
and-
like I think we had one in February. So I know she's gonna come in like 4-ish months, and
What is considered a bad score versus a good score? So it's not like in school, like where you can pass with a D and still, like,
I
so
don't think
what's
anyone's gonna want to
considered-
go to a restaurant with
Right,
a D.
that's what I'm saying. So what?
I think anything below an A would like I don't know if people would actually go.
And is an A like a 90 and above?
Yeah, 90
Okay.
and above. But we would like to keep it anywhere from like a 97 up. That would
What's
be
been
ideal.
your best?
100.
Okay. So you mentioned social media. How have you gotten a lot of customer? So since you guys took over in 2017, I say you guys, meaning your family, not
Yeah.
necessarily you, but
The whole
then
thing,
you,
yeah.
You own it now, or there's other partners too.
Yeah,
still,
so it's
'cause
still
you're-
me, my dad, and Lori, the original owner's
Okay.
mother-in-law.
Okay. How in the food business in general do you market? Do you advertise? How do you get new customers? Is there a advertising spend? What's all that stuff?
We don't really have a budget for it, but we have tried a lot of different things. We did like a birthday coupon. We did, right now we're in like a Valpak mailer that goes out to all the homes. And those are good, but I have to say like the biggest thing that I knew, but I didn't really put my foot forward with it for a while was social media. It's the biggest thing that you could do, and it's essentially free. It just takes a lot of time. So since January, I think it was January 25th, I kind of put my foot down and I was like, I'm going to do this every single day. And I do.
Have you done it since every day?
Every day. I think I've missed like a day or two, but I've started making videos, like little day in the life videos, and it has brought in people from all over the place.
And they found you on social media.
Yeah, they tell us. And I've had people at the table say, oh my gosh, you're Julia. Like, I know your entire daily routine. I love you. I'm like, oh, okay.
Like a day in the life of a
Restaurant owner.
owner, yeah.
Mhm. I used to do it on my personal channel, like, because I'm a mom. I have 3 kids. So I do, like, day in the life of a mom of 3 and restaurant owner. But I decided to just focus on my days here, and then hopefully when I'm home, I can
Do you still post content though, like revolving around this food specifically, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like pictures of new dishes or
Yeah.
or new beer offerings, or I mean that kind of stuff? You still
Yeah,
market
so I
that?
used to use social media. I think I posted this the other day. I used to use social media kind of as like a photo album. And I would just, oh, here's our new dish, and, here's our special for today, and it'd just be a static picture. But that's not really what the algorithm's like after nowadays. So I'll kind of mesh those things into my day in the life video, or I'll do like more like, not theatrical, but just more involved video of something than just a static picture. I rarely post just a picture anymore because it just doesn't get seen.
Have you seen, for anyone listening that's wanting to market on social media, have you seen better results with one platform or the other, or not really?
For us personally, it's actually Instagram.
Okay.
And I thought it would be TikTok. But we, just get more views over there and we're seen over there. But I still post it on TikTok as well. And I haven't really figured out like timing. Like, is it better to post at night or in the morning for either platform? And I'm kind of impulsive and I'm just like, do it all at once and just goes out to the universe and see what happens.
You don't do paid advertising at all?
I'll pay for like, if there's something particular that I like really want to push out there, I'll pay to like boost the post. I don't know if that's the right thing or not, but
Gotcha.
it gets it seen. I did, we have like a mega mozzarella that we kind of became known for. So I did a video of that long time ago last year. I can't even remember if I boosted that one, but I posted the video again, and I think I added some more stuff to it. I added me and my mom making them and kind of just the process behind it, and it like blew up. And I think, I don't even know what it's at now, maybe like 500K or something.
wow.
And that was like a lot for us.
Yeah,
'Cause we're just these little guys over here. And people were coming from, like, I had people in here from Texas and DC, but people were traveling, but they knew about us because of this post, and they ended up stopping here.
I guess that's a question too. What, that you know of, where's the furthest customer came from?
I want to say probably Texas.
Okay.
Like, they were literally like, yeah, we're here for a church conference over in, I don't know where it was, like Salisbury or something. We just had to come over. Like, oh, that's so nice. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Have you ever had any famous people in here?
Yeah, the staff from, oh my gosh, my staff is going to kill me if I can't remember. I think it was the staff from like The Walking Dead, maybe? I know the one guy, he was the governor from The Walking Dead. I can't remember his name,
Okay.
but he was here. And a few other people, I think someone from the show, Ocean something. Can't remember.
Yeah, but
remember.
you've had
But
some
yeah.
people that have, yeah.
Few people, yeah.
That's cool. Have you how do you, and if so, how do you come up with new items to put on the menu, or do you want to stick to your menu that you have now forever?
No, I definitely play around with it. So I was like, I don't think I mentioned this, but I was like the front of house owner, manager for a while when I first started. And then my head chef at the time left like right after COVID. So I jumped back into the kitchen for like 2 years. I was working like crazy hours and I couldn't hold that up anymore. So now I have a really good team back there. But from that time, I kind of like really fell in love with everything in the kitchen. And so I still am the one that's making the new recipes and stuff. So I redo our menu like twice a year, and I'll tweak some things, add some new things. I made like a summer menu last year that had some fun stuff on it that's coming back this year.
And it's all stuff that you came up with?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you ever have has there been anything that you have added that is because customer wants it? Like in the past 2 weeks we've had 100 people ask for XYZ.
Yeah, so I just added, it's not something totally different, but we add like a salmon piccata because we have a chicken piccata and a veal piccata. But customers are always like, oh, can I get that with salmon? I'm like, sure. So I just added it to this new menu, and it's, been popping off.
Is it a pain in the butt to redesign the whole menu? The menu itself, the paper,
We have a graphic designer that used to be one of our bartenders here, actually. And she's left and, to do her career, but she still does our menu. So it's not that much of a pain in the butt because I call her like, hey, Abby.
Sure.
And she's very willing and loves doing it. So I think she loves doing it.
Is it, and we've talked about the finances a little bit already, but I've always heard that the food business is very hard, and it takes a lot of time from the time you start. And I understand you weren't here at the inception of the business, but are there ever times where it's like super close to make, I don't want to say make ends meet, but to make a profit, maybe make ends meet? I
Yeah.
mean, and if so, what is the reason? Is it a seasonal? It doesn't seem like it'd be a seasonal business, but is it seasonal? Is it staffing issues? Like, have you had close months, close weeks where it's very tight?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's kind of just like finding your ebb and flow, you know, kind of finding your sweet spot and with hours for the staff and your food costs and making that work with your menu. And maybe you're going to have to adjust your menu to, you know, have less items or make more things. That's what I had to do, is like I had to take some things off of my menu and create some new dishes that use things that I already have, so I can make multiple uses of the things that I'm already buying to just make our food cost better. But yeah, we've definitely had way close months. We've had months that were just negative, and we've had to, you know, go into the savings. I had to replace our water heater last month for $15,000, so that was not fun, but it happens. And
But it's just one off. It's not like you're constantly losing money where it's like you're having to close the doors. I mean, you're able to sustain eventually. It just
it does feel like it's like it's a marathon. It's like not a sprint. It's a marathon. It's
So how do you handle when someone doesn't show up to work, and not so much the servers, because it seems like they could just maybe fill in, but like a chef, for example, a server doesn't know how to cook, but it seems like maybe a cook could learn how to serve easier than a server could learn how to cook. So like, how do you handle when somebody doesn't show up? Do you just try to call another one? And what, like, have there been days where you're like, oh my gosh, we don't have enough people working?
Yeah, and honestly, I fill in. That's my like I can do all those spots in the kitchen. So, God forbid, knock on wood, it hasn't happened basically ever without notice. Like I think 3 weeks ago, I had one of my cooks like, I'm really sick, I can't come in. I'm so sorry. Totally get it. Like it happens. So I went back there and I worked on the line. And if it was to happen where, you know, it's last minute and he just doesn't show up, I think we would just, they're cross-trained in the kitchen. So guy A can walk over and work this other station while this other guy is kind of trying to make his one station work that's supposed to have two people. But it hasn't happened often, and I do try to be available if needed. I've had to come in on my days off to fill in, and
Gotcha.
it's not the best thing in the world because I do have
Right.
3 kids at home.
Right.
I want to
Right.
be home
Right.
when I'm home, but you know, got to do what you got to do.
The is there a next for the business kind of overall 3,000-foot view? Is there a goal or another milestone you're trying to get to? Like, I've asked other people this I've done the podcast with, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And that sounds very cliche, but I mean, like, is there a big plan that you're working on? And maybe it's like, we want to offer this, or maybe we want another location. Like, is there something else you're working on currently? Some other big milestone you're working towards?
Yeah, I think I'm not sure if we would ever open another Basilicos, like a second one, but maybe another location entirely, because I feel like we're outgrowing this space. We're not outgrowing like the amount of tables in our dining room. I like the size of our dining room. I like that it's small, quaint. People come in here, it feels like homey. Like they say, oh, it's like the neighborhood Cheers, and I love that. Like that's totally the vibe I want. But our kitchen and our walk-in space is super small, and 6 trucks a week is a lot. And it's like,
Gotta have somewhere
I
to
would
put it.
love to be able to have a little bit of back stock and not run out of it in like a night. But you know, we would love to get like a walk-in, instead of having it in the kitchen, have it like on our patio. Our landlord kind of denied that, but I'm gonna try again. I'm gonna ask again because I think it's a new landlord now. But if it doesn't work out, then maybe in 5 years we'll buy the lot next door and build a restaurant. I don't know. I don't
So
know
you
what's
want something
happening.
bigger, but not necessarily for dining space.
Yeah.
Why not? And maybe the answer is the small, quaint feel, but are you able to scale up the physical size of the dining room but still keep the vibe small, or not
I
really?
think so. I think we'd be able to. I think that would be fine if it happens like that. If we do go to another space or we build another space and it has more tables, I wouldn't say no. But I just kind of like that quaint feel, and we do max it out on the weekends. We just need that bigger kitchen space because we're doing other things other than just what's in the dining room. Like we're catering weddings, and we're, engagement parties, rehearsal dinners, birthday parties, whatever it may be. and trying to prep those things and have room for those things while also still maintaining the 300 covers we have on a night, it's like a very daunting task. We're like, oh, wow, where are we going to put these things? There's literally no room.
You haven't seen any issues with your location as far as physically where it's at, like the amount of traffic? It seems to be a very good location.
It's a really good location. We got here before all of the townhouses were built, apartments and all that stuff. So it was even good before that, and now it's just even better. People can walk over here from where they live, like right across the street. So that's really nice. And
are you guys on DoorDash or any of the delivery apps?
yeah, we are on DoorDash, Grubhub, Uber Eats. We have our website that has, I think we're partnered with Uber Eats delivery through there, so you can order delivery through our website and get it as well.
Are there any challenges with that as far as the timing? Because they want it done fast, right?
We want it done really fast, yeah. So if we do get busy and we can't keep up with the demand, because there's no way that I know of to increase the time for them. Like if it's from my current website, I can go on there and like set, it's like a sliding scale, and I can put a delay on it. So the customer knows, like, okay, your order's not gonna be ready in 25, it's gonna be ready in 45. Say on like a Friday night or something. And I can't do that with DoorDash or all those other third parties, so I just shut them off.
Okay.
Instead of making customers
You can
mad.
shut them off in lifetime.
Yeah.
At
so
7:15 p.m. if you get busy, boom, you can shut it off.
It's literally a toggle on my phone. So I have Toast, and all of those things are integrated with our POS system. So that's really nice. We didn't have that before. There was like 700 tablets and everything was ringing at one time, and it was very chaotic. So having that all in one spot, it's like calmed the noise, and I can control it. My sisters have the app on their phone, so they can control it. And just as simple as like a toggle off.
Does stuff cost more on there? For the customer, I know it does. But for you, do you charge more for expedited service on DoorDash?
There's no like expedited, like nothing like that. I actually just put like a 10%, like for a long time. This happened like 2 weeks ago. I just was scrolling and I was like, oh, I can just like raise the price by 10% instead of going into each menu item and, calculating it. So I did that because they take 30% commission, all of them take a 30% commission. So it's a lot. And because so much of our business comes from it, it's like before COVID, I think we were at like 25-30% was to-go orders, and now we sit at like 45%. So.
Yeah, so I guess speaking of that, like if you were to break down your revenue in like a pie chart, so you mentioned the to-go orders, but then you also mentioned like catering and stuff like that. What are your kind of revenue streams? I know you're doing the same product for each one, but like if you were to break down to-go orders on the apps versus your website versus in-person people dining in versus the catering, like how does that pie chart roughly would it look?
Roughly, I don't know for like
not exact numbers,
not
but
exact
just
numbers.
Majority versus minority kind of.
I think I think it's at like 15 to 17% for like our website, and like I said, like it's like 45% is to go. So the other, not doing math right now, but other percentage is coming from all those third parties.
Okay,
it's a lot.
How and then the catering and stuff like that would play into that too.
Yeah, the catering is from our website. Okay. So I don't have catering on the other guys. I do have like there's one, it's Easy Cater that we're on, and a lot of office buildings do it. But we have a little bit comes from that. It's like a bleep on the radar.
You're not getting weddings every weekend though that people are wanting you. Is there any interest, or have you ever talked about doing like food truck type stuff, or is this not really the business for that?
I don't think, not for me personally. Yeah, if ever, it would be like.
And I would imagine your menu would have to change drastically.
Definitely, yeah, it would be a drastic change.
Yeah, gotcha. All right, you want to plug your social media and your website?
Sure. Yeah, we're basilicoitaliano.com. We're Basilico Family Restaurant on TikTok, Basilico Italiano on Instagram, Basilico Italiano on Facebook.
All of them.
Yeah.
All the good ones. Anything else you want to add?
I don't think so. Thanks for having me.
Yep. Thank you. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. And if you're listening to this, leave it a 5-star review. Thank you.
Thank you.